So my parents both had a lot of substance abuse issues. They were out of my life pretty early. My mother wasn't around much, but my dad has been kind of in the area the whole time. They pushed me between 3 foster cares. He doesn't have a chance, is sort of the argument. And then my grandparents were able to come and adopt me. So neither of them were educated. My grandmother didn't finish junior high. My grandfather, he finished high school, but he didn't really get a good experience. So he would move around a lot and he jumped grades all the time, but he sort of saw like the opportunities that everyone with education got and really emphasized that sort of as a backbone for going to college. They didn't want to push too hard at the same time, but he always made a point of like, you know, if you get educated, you can do what you want, but like going to college, you got to go to college. So in 8th grade, someone came by and showed us a video of going to Midland College for high school and getting an associate degree. We would all be almost taking entirely college courses. And, you know, given my situation, I definitely fit, you know, socioeconomic disadvantaged student by a lot of metrics. I was somewhat aware of this pretty early on. And they showed the video and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. So at early college high school, we were required to do X amount hours of community service every year. That was something that was always on the back of my mind. I went to the Planetarium because my friend and his father took me there. I just remembered, looking up at the planetarium, looking at the stars, and, hearing a thundering voice describe everything. Just some astrophysicist sitting behind me, just pointing and being excited about the constellations, about everything going on. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be how I get my community service. 'Cause I would go there every Tuesday and Thursday for hours. And he actually taught me how to run the planetarium on my own. And this was actually, I think, a multi-million-dollar projector system. And he was like, all right, a 17-year-old can run it. And that was really cool. He just left me on my own and he just let me literally explore the universe. Once I got good at that, I started just asking him questions about the universe and about physics and math. And he was a very good mentor in that regard. But whenever I heard he was an astrophysicist, I was like, well, that's what I want to be, right? I'm actually going more towards particle physics at this point. But end goal is the same, is to better understand the universe. And so I ended up getting, 4 or 5 other people to come with me at a time. And we ended up being given teams, and we just do things all around campus. And it was really great. But what that ended up doing was basically like either doubling or tripling the yearly amount of community service hours that was done at the museum in Southwest. And I got a pretty good award for that. I was given the Youth Leadership Award. I was just doing what I kind of went there to do in high school. There were so many people that I worked with at the museum, and they're all coming over to like congratulate me and thank me, and they even gave me a speech. They wrote a speech that said I was a staple of the planetarium, and I led the charge and volunteer efforts across the museum, and that was really special to me. The great thing about early college, in a different, still academic sense, is that we were required to apply to X amount of colleges. So we had to start looking into that very early. The counselor at the time, she told me to look into what's called the Quest Bridge program. And that's a program for, underrepresented students, some, socioeconomic disadvantaged students, low income, for instance. So I did that, and I then applied to only Quest Bridge programs. And, there's like 40 of them. And so I was like, well, I'll apply to 11 of them. And I think my odds are pretty good, given, given my scenario, given my situation. And then I was rejected from, all 11 of them. All rejection really does is make you take a step back and think is this what I really want to do? And, when I was rejected from all the colleges, I went to the skate park and I just sat there for a couple hours. And it's like, what do I want to do? I could just go get a job. Maybe I could do stock markets. I don't know. Why am I going on this path? And in the end, it's like, I want to have freedom and I want to research what I want to do. And there are a lot of paths I can do it. After I was rejected from all the colleges, I don't know what else to do, right? I just graduated, or I'm about to graduate in the college, and I knew I was about to be homeless for a while because my grandparents decided to move. So after I got into physics, I slowly started to realize that I needed to do research to some degree. So Dr. Eddy, he was one of my teachers, and he mentioned a research program for students. So I went and talked to him, and he ended up recommending I work at Kingsville. He helped me through the process, and I ended up getting in. It was the first time I'd ever been on my own for a little while. Had I not done that research, I wouldn't have said, I want to do more research, Dr. Eddy, where do I go? Right? Someone actually came back at Midland College. They were like, if you stick in this program for a year, you can go to Switzerland. I was like, oh, awesome. I took Los Alamos over Switzerland. But I wouldn't have gotten down that path without Midland College. And then during that time, I was suddenly part of the Mars Science Laboratory for a little while, working on the Mars rover, Curiosity, real-time data from Mars. Although it's probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, I realized that it wasn't really right for me. So I went back to nuclear physics. I applied to another 11 schools in my gap year, and I was accepted to UT. I'd taken such a long gap, I guess, between classes, living on my own, doing my own thing, to I need to focus, right? And that was really hard on me. Yeah, I definitely started off very poorly. Made several C's. I failed almost all my tests my first semester. I developed a lot of test anxiety. I never had that before. But the program, the Dean Scholars, is where they had a mentorship thing where upperclassmen were quote unquote buddies to underclassmen. And so my upperclassmen buddies, we sat down, we talked a lot. They helped me a lot. And so a lot of their help is a lot of the reason why I got more involved in community service at UT. I decided that I want to give back to the mental health community of our program. I graduated UT with an honors degree in physics and an honors degree in math. And I had 2 distinctions, one for service leadership and then another for research. I know that I've helped people with mental health issues, and I work to make our program better, and to be acknowledged with service and leadership, it was really special to me. So at Stanford, I work with the heavy photon search and light dark matter experiment. There isn't a better place in the world for doing this, and I am on the frontier of new physics. And in 6 years, maybe my thesis will be on the first detection of dark matter. Who knows? It's crazy difficult. I go to every meeting, I don't know what's going on, but every now and then I learn a new word. And I'm like, wow. The second law of thermodynamics states that the entropy in the universe will always increase. Entropy is just another word for chaos or disorder. As I grow older, as I get more experiences, as everything happens, I have a lot more disorder in my life. There's a lot more going on, a lot more places to look, places to be. Even now, I feel like I'm not good enough. But at the same time, my mentors and my experiences have definitely guided me towards some system of order that helps me overcome the next chaotic event. It's very inspiring to know that someone's looking out for a group of students who wouldn't necessarily go to college, students who have to overcome obstacles and they just make it a little bit easier. But it means the world. It's a great thing to donate to the program because you're helping inspire the next generation donors too, right? Because we understand just how meaningful it is to give any gift towards these programs and initiatives. And I definitely plan on giving back to ensure that in the future, no one else is barred from that. I think it's very important to have people come in and let them know that it's possible to do anything they want, right? I want to make sure that the program stays strong, and I want to support it in any way I can.